Sahana vavatu sahanau bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome all of you for the online meeting of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. So we, for a change, started on the auspicious occasion of Maha Shivaratri. In preparation for that, so we started the study guide on the significance of Shivaratri. So, I'm very happy to say last Thursday, that is March 11th, we had this Mahashivratri celebrations, and people from devotees all over the world participated, and it was very inspiring. We got a lot of feedback saying that they were really glued to the program. Usually when we celebrate here, usually we have 8 to 10 hour program. Here, there are many people who stayed for even 18 hours to 24 hours. So I heard somebody who didn't even have fasting and didn't sleep. So amazing how so many people really observed this Mahashivratri celebration, and people felt that Swami was brought to their home and they had enjoyed the divine vibrations. But here, the reason we are doing this Shivaratri study guide is to know the inner significance. Swami says any of these holy days will become really significant when we know the inner significance. So otherwise it becomes like a ritual. People pour the water, do this, fast. What does it mean? So you need to know the inner significance. Instead of a ritual, then it becomes spiritual. So that is the purpose. So last time we had, not week before that, I think March 4th we started this, and just I will briefly summarize what we discussed. At least we should know few major points, all of us who participate, because this comes every year. So last time we talked about two aspects. What is Shivaratri, Mahashivaratri? Second is the significance of the Lingam. So I will summarize. So the Shivaratri, first meaning you should know. Shiva means auspiciousness. Ratri means night. Any auspicious night is Shivaratri. But traditionally, this comes on Chaturdashi every month. We call that Masa Shivaratri, monthly Shivaratri. But when it comes in the month of Magha on Chaturdashi, which March 11th was, we call that Maha Shivaratri. So not monthly Shivaratri, Maha Great Shivaratri, which is very significant. So that is what we celebrated on March 11th. So here, but Swami gave even higher significance. Don't need to wait for Mahashivratri once a year. Swami said every night can be a Shivaratri, because by definition, what does Shivaratri mean? Auspicious night. Any night you spend thinking about God or doing His work, repeating His name, singing His glories, that all becomes Shivaratris. So really, if you have really that intensity, you can make every night a Shivaratri if you have that kind of passion, which yogis have. So that is what you should know what Shivaratri, Maha Shivaratri and Mahashivratri mean. And then, according to scriptures, the significance of Mahashivratri, we said, is three. Number one, this is the day when Lord Shiva did the Tandava dance. Then he is the cosmic dance. And that is the time they say he produced so much heat, the world could not bear it. That is why he need to be cooled down by the moon, which gives the moonlight cooling down, and the cold-blooded, these things, snakes, which also have a cooling effect, and Ganges, Mother Ganga, with water. So he has so much heat, so he has to have moon, the water, and the snakes to cool him down. So that is the Tandava dance, that is cosmic dance. Second thing is, this is the time he brought out the Lingam. We'll come to the Lingam. See, this is the day Lingodbhava. Lord Shiva gave to the gift to the universe about this Lingam. And then third thing is, this is the day they say Shiva Parvati Kalyanam. They got the wedding. What is it? It symbolizes the unity of Prakruti, which is mother, and Purusha, which is Lord Shiva. Because always these are like positive and negative, always they are together. That is why Lord Shiva we call Ardhanarishwara. He is left part of Lord Shiva is Shakti. So that shows that always Purusha and Prakriti are together and shows that union this particular day. That is why another significance. These three are the main significance of the Maha Shivaratri. And then as we are talking about, last time we also talked about the Lingam. So first that also we should remember, Liyate iti Lingaha. So everything merges in the Lingam. So everything, so all the forms, names, everything merges into that. That is why it is a Lingam. That is why Lord Shiva, as we said, Shivaratri day, Shivara. So it signifies numerologically for 11. Shi for number 5, Va for number 4, Ra for number 2. So if you combine 5, 4, 2, it is 11. So this 11 is for 11 Rudras. So 11 Rudras, so that is why we do Namakam 11 Anuvakas, Chamakam 11 Anuvakas, to please these Rudras. Who are the Rudras? There also Swami gave explanation. They are our 5 Karmendriyas, organs of action, and 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 organs of perception and mind. These 11 constitute the Rudras. Why these Rudra? There is a two meaning. Rudra means one who makes you weep. So if you really get too much involved in the world and all that, he will make you weep, bondage, grief. But the same Rudras, if you turn towards God, he will give you joy. That's why Rudra means one who gets rid of Rugmata. That means your diseases and your sadness, everything he gets rid of. If you turn towards him. But if you turn toward the world, he will make you cry. So that is why it is left to us. The choice is ours. Where do you turn to? So this way, the Lord brought out this Lingam to show as a blessing to people whom they can relate to. As I said, in the temples, they don't worship the Shiva's form, but they worship the Lingam. Because like Om is the most powerful verbal symbol for Nirguna, Nirakara, Brahman. Om, when we say Om, Ityekaksharam Brahma, represented by the whole Brahman is by Om. Similarly, Nirakara, Nirguna, Brahman is represented by the Lingam. Once you see Lingam, it represents the thing. So it corresponds to Om in the verbal level, in the form. It is a formless form. As Swami we watched the video clip where so God has head, hands, legs, but Swami showed the Lingam. It doesn't have you can put like this. He was showing that it doesn't have a head, hands, ling. You can see any form because it's a formless form. That's what we would suggest that. And then Swami talked about many types of lingas, because like Jyotirlingam, Atmalingam, Spatikalingam, Crystal Lingam, and even with various metals, but he emphasized Hiranyagarbha Lingam. Because Hiranya Garbha means Hiranya is gold. Garbha means womb. So God who has got the gold in his womb. And he says it is permeating in everybody, in every being, it is there. And this Hiranyagarbha Swami said, like we all have the heart, and we all know the left side. There's physical heart. But the spiritual heart, where the Hiranyagarbha is on the right side. So Hiranyagarbha is on the right side of the heart. And this one, Swami says, not only in human beings, it is there in birds and bees, all the beings. This Hiranyagarbha Lingam is there. But there the Lord Swami brings about the Hiranyagarbha Lingam because it is permeated everywhere. He can bring it by his power of love. He can concentrate and bring it about. That is the Hiranyagarbha Lingam. So that is the significance of worship of the Lingam because it represents all forms and all names. So that is why the importance of the Lingam Swami gave, and he used to bring it out on the day of Shivaratri. So now we'll continue from there on page 3. Hope all of you have the soft copy version of the Mahashivratri. We are sharing it on the online. So you can, if you want, you can see it online, or you can even print it and read it, whichever is good for you. Sairam.
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. Sairam, brothers and sisters. We are starting on page 3 at the top of the Maha Shivaratri Ritual to Spiritual study guide sent by the Arcadia Sathya Center. If you have questions, kindly put them in the Q&A and we'll try to have Dr. Reddy address them if time permits. Purpose of fasting. You must free yourself from all thought of food and concentrate on the thought of God. If thoughts of food bother you, if pangs of hunger disturb you, then it is much better to eat and then start sadhana. Upavasa, the word for the vow of fasting, means living in the proximity of God. Upa means near, vasa means living. And so the vow is meant to liberate you from the worry and bother of preparing and eating food so that you might dwell more intimately with God. Remember that the purpose of fast is spending time in the contemplation of God and not simply punishing the body by cutting a meal or a series of meals. Vows, vigils, fasts, etc., along with all kinds of voluntarily imposed or involuntarily suffered hardships, are to be looked upon as promoting spiritual strength, not as weakening physical stamina. February 1966. Next section, Unity in Diversity, Shiva's Family. Lord Shiva has donned this divine form in order to teach a renunciate outlook to the world, including his consort, Parvati. Another habit is to beg for alms. Parvati, however, did not develop any aversion or disgust towards her husband, Lord Shiva, on account of his strange attire or habits. She did not run away from him, saying, "How can I lead a family life with such a person?" She faithfully followed him, submitting herself to his wishes and happiness. Both of them lived in peace and harmony. Now about their sons. The vehicle of the younger son, Lord Subramanya, is the peacock, which is by nature an enemy of the serpents worn as ornaments by his father. The serpents begin hissing at the sight of a peacock. They hate each other. Similarly, the vehicle of the elder son, Lord Vinayaka, is the rat, which is a natural prey of the serpent. They are bitter enemies. In spite of such divergent natures, all the members of the family of Lord Shiva lived happily in perfect peace. Each member, while discharging their duty, provided happiness and joy to the other. March 2nd, 2003. Even in the form of Lord Shiva himself, there are apparent contradictions. He has Ganga on his head and the crescent moon in his matted locks. These are signs of coolness. In contrast to this, He has literally fire in the third eye in his forehead. Thus there is cool water on his head and fire below on his forehead. These two are conflicting forces, yet they maintain perfect harmony and set an example to the world. Thus there was not even slightest difference of opinion or discordant note in the universal family of Lord Shiva. It is a perfectly ideal family which the entire world should emulate. In sharp contrast to this situation, there is bitter hatred today between one person and another. Hatred is ruling all fields in the world. Even in the same family, there is discord between husband and wife, between parents and children, and between brothers. Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati, by their own example, are exhorting the entire world to shed hatred and enmity. March 2nd, 2003. Should we stop here?
Yeah.
So, Dr. Reddy, a few quick observations on this. The purpose of fasting is very important because a lot of people, even in India when we were young, don't realize this. They do it as a ritual. And as Swami said that if you understand the spiritual significance, then all of this makes perfect sense. And it is meant that you forget, you are so intoxicated with God that you forget eating, not that you are hungry and you are always craving for food. So this is a very important lesson, I think, that every one of us should remember, that our main purpose of all our sadhana is to seek God, not be lost in the rituals. The next two ones are very important for unity. We are reading the study guide on unity, and this is a perfect example where by his own conduct, the Lord is teaching us that we need to see the unity below the diversity. The diversity is part of the world, but he's saying that we need to see the unity. Everybody loves the Lord, and it is the love that brings them together. And so even they are enemies outside, but they coexist with each other. And this is a lesson from nature. In nature, the tiger, the sheep, and all that, they coexist with each other, but each one is an enemy of the other. And then lastly, Shiva himself has contradictions in him. And this is again a property, this is again inherent in creation and nature. We have different aspects even in the same person, but we have to coexist and get along and be nice for the good of society, for our own. And that is a sign of spirituality. So he's showing that accept diversity and learn to live with it. And then you'll find God below the outer surface. Sairam.
Sairam. This fasting, so please understand, Swami is not telling us not to fast. Fasting is like we all give rest to the mind, body. Similarly, once in a while it is good to give rest to our GI system, our stomach, because sometimes every day we load it, sometimes twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So poor stomach, once in a while, it needs rest. So it is good to give that. And it is given like an austerity in many religions. Even in Islam, they watch fasting in Ramadan time. In Christianity, they watch this 40-day, the rigorous fasting before. And in Hindus, in most of the religions, this is introduced as an austerity. So that for 2 things, to see whether we have control of the senses, because Swami says 3 things for spiritual seekers: bend the body, that means use the body in the service of people, and mend the senses, that means control the senses, because always one of our weaknesses is particularly the tongue, dual problem. It likes different tastes and wants to eat more stuffs and heavy. So that is why to control the tongue. Second thing is it likes to talk too much. So that is why in most of these austerities they introduce 2 things: eat less or fast if you can, and practice mauna, silence. These 2 are prescribed for most of the religions: Buddhism, Jainism, and Judaism, Christianity, and Islam and Hinduism. Because as an austerity you do that, so that you can focus on God. Because when in a full stomach, what happens? We'll tend to doze off, we'll sleep, snore. So, or when you have any of these distractions, then your mind doesn't get focused on God. That is why it is introduced. But thinking that is the important, the purpose is to be with God. So you do that. Some people go on drinking 10 cups of coffee or tea and then or something else, then you fast. That is not good. So just make you calm down so that you are not overloaded. That is why Lord Buddha realized when he did this penance, that is called tapas. Tapas means you make it burn. So that means you really put it. But Swami here says, don't torture the body. So just to give a beautiful example, if there is a ant hill in which snakes stay, so you go on hitting outside the ant hill, it won't happen. Snake is inside. Similarly, all your things, you are torturing your body. More important is get rid of the negativity inside the body. That is important. That is what Lord Buddha realized. First he did penance, he almost starved himself, became skin and bones, but he was not realizing the truth. Then he realized the best way is to have middle path. That is why he taught that Madhya Marg, always everything. Not too much eating, not too little eating. So not too much activity, not being too much dullness. So that is the middle path. That is what he came, and then he gave the 4 noble truths and then the 8-fold path. So here also Lord Krishna beautifully says in Gita, Yuktahara viharasya, yukta chestasya karmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yogo bhavati dukkhaha. Dukkhaha means we all go through pain, suffering. How do you get out of the dukkha, pain, suffering in life? Yogo bhavati, become a yogi. How do you become yogi? Qualities. Here he said, many qualities, but here, yuktahara viharasya. Ahara viharas are important. So it means moderation eating food. Don't eat too much, don't eat too little. Viharasya, activity. Don't be too excessively active, running here, there, going everywhere. That's not good. And being inertia, always lying in the bed, relaxed, that is also not good. So no excessive activity, no inertia. No excessive food, nor starving. And yukta swapnava bodhasya. So swapna means being sleepy all the time, dull, tamasic. Or bodhasya, always be alert, awake, agitated and running here and there. So don't do either extremes. So that is what Swami says, that will take you the middle path. So you should not do the excessive thing. That is what the sense control is. Then you will become like a yogi. So that is what he was telling, that purpose. So austerity has a place in spiritual practices. Some people, they fast for Shiva on Monday, for Hanuman on Tuesday, for Thursday for another god, and Friday for Lakshmi, and Saturday for Venkateshwara, Sunday. So that's not too much. So you need to, main thing is don't torture the body. Main thing is you need to keep the body, it is a vehicle, so keep it good shape. And as I said one time, I shared that Swami told the day before Shivaratri, he told me, tomorrow come for lunch. I told my family and friends, he says, tomorrow Swami wants us to come for lunch in the house. They all laughed. You must have heard, you must be imagining. I wish Swami calls you, so you're imagining. So they didn't believe me. They were not even prepared. Then Swami really called on the day of Maha Shivaratri for lunch. And then finally everybody has to rush to show that don't be caught up in these rituals very much. So just remember the purpose of why we do. Then it makes it significant. That is the importance of the watching the actually Swami said this is another thing important. I want to suddenly relate this anecdote I shared before. This happened about 40 years ago. Swami called us for the interview. I was new, and then I gave a book to Swami to sign. When the book came, the lights went away in the interview room. You are new, my God, how I want him to sign, and these lights, how can he sign? He cannot see. I was thinking in my mind, but Swami looks in my eyes and tells, hey, I can see, I can even see the ant crawling. Then he asked me, how old are you? And he said, you are a young man. already you are losing hair, you are wearing glasses. See, I don't wear glasses, I'm full of hair. And I can see the ant. Then I said, Swami, you are God, you are divine. That is why you can do that. Swami has said that has nothing to do with divinity. It is practice of three P's: purity, patience, and perseverance. And also for that, Swami said important is your ahara and vihara. How do you watch? We already talked about ahara, food, observation, what you do, your habits. You need to do it in a controlled way, disciplined way. Swami says you also will be able to have that eternal youth and peace and bliss. So that is why this is the role of our ahara viharas. Next, coming to the topic, unity and diversity, the harmony in the family. So Swami is emphasizing a lot. He always used to tell how we need to respect the parents, respect each other, family members, and you can see all how there is big collapse in the unity in family. There is a beautiful quotation of Swami is, everybody wants world peace. Where does the world peace start? With us. That is why Swami says, when there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in character. When there is beauty in character, then there is harmony at home. When there is harmony at home, there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. So everything starts with our character, and there should be harmony in the home. If there is no harmony in the home, there won't be any peace in the world. Because a lot of families, everywhere they're split. There is rift between parents and children. Children don't take care of the parents, and parents don't abandon their children, and there is a legal battle between brothers. I particularly when I was practicing, I saw particularly after parents die, they have estate, there is more problem. Then the two sisters I have seen, they will, oh, she took these things I was supposed to get, and they don't even talk to each other. So sad, just for some material things of minimal importance, their whole relationship is destroyed. So that is why Swami says, you may have differences of opinion. So that is why munde matir bhinna. As long as we are 10 people, we have 10 different opinions. It's natural. But because of that, don't argue or fight with each other. Try to adjust and adapt. And Swami gave the beautiful example is Adi Kutumbam, first family. Lord Shiva and Parvati and then Kartikeya and Ganesha. How in spite of the differences, particularly Swami showed their vehicles, how they are inimical to each other, but there is so much harmony. So we need to try to develop this harmony, and for that Swami says three things: adjust, adapt, and accommodate. Because tendency, when there is a difference of opinion, we tend to argue. Just give your opinion, let go, let people think, even though sometimes you tell the truth, people don't accept. Our duty to tell and let go. So this is very important. The unity should start at the individual level through thought, word, and deed, harmony, and then at the family level. Then we already talked at the society level and the national level and universe level and parameshti level. But first, it needs to be the individual and family level. So these are the two important points. Now we can continue. Anupam.
Next, Linga Vishakam. The story is that this is the day on which Shiva danced the cosmic dance in his ecstasy, with all the gods and sages taking part in the cosmic event. When he consumed the death-dealing poison that emanated from the ocean of milk, in response to the prayers of the worlds which it threatened to destroy, the heat of the fumes was well nigh unbearable even for him. So it is said Ganga river was poured uninterruptedly on his matted locks. This is the explanation for the Abhisheka, ceremony of pouring consecrated water, oil, milk, etc. on the idol, which is offered in all Shiva temples for hours on end, and in some places uninterruptedly. But Shiva was only partly relieved, so the cool moon was placed on the head, which gave some relief. Then Ganga was placed on the matted logs. That was of great help. After this, Shiva danced the cosmic dance with all the gods. February 7th, 1959. Next section. Lord Shiva, giver of Jnana. What is liberation? It is not just reaching God. It means complete merger with the divine. Rivers like Ganga, Godavari and Saraswati have different names and forms, but once they merge in the ocean, they lose their name and become one with the ocean. Similarly, once you merge in God, there will be no difference whatsoever. Experiencing such non-dualism is the true objective of human life. February 15th, 1999. All the joy you crave for is in you, but like a man who has vast riches in the iron chest, but who has no idea where the key is, you suffer. With proper directions, dwelling upon them in the silence of meditation, it is possible to secure the key, open the chest, and be rich in joy. The flames of anger, pride, hatred, envy are more devastating than other fires. They arise in the mind stealthily and in spurts. They are ever demanding more and more to feed upon. Fire is called anala in the Gita, for anala means not enough. Fire never says enough or I am satisfied. You dread fire when it leaps at a distance. What then is to be said when it is inside your very self? How to put out these awful flames? Well, Sanatana Dharma, the ancient spiritual code, has certain extinguishers tested by experience and guaranteed by sages. They are Sathya, Dharma, Shanti and Prema. Saturate your heart with these and you are rendered fireproof. March 1st, 1965. Shiva is the God who blesses beings with the most desirable gift of meaning in the universe. Realize the God in you first. Then if you involve yourself with the material world, no harm can come to you, for you will recognize the objective world as but the body of God. But if you try to involve yourself with the objective world first, and then try to discover God, you will see the material world only. March 5th, 1973. Resolve on this holy Shivaratri in the presence of Shiva Sai to visualize the Shiva as the inner power of all. With each breath, you are even now asserting, Soham, I am He, not only you, but every being that breathes, every being that lives, everything that exists. It is a fact which you have ignored so long. Believe it from now on. When you watch your breath and meditate on that magnificent truth, slowly the I and the He, the So and the Hum will draw nearer and closer until the feeling of separateness will fade away and Soham will be transformed into Om, the Pranava, the primal sound, the fundamental formula for God. That Om is the Swaswarupa, the reality behind this quote-unquote relative reality. February 1969. Should we stop here?
Yeah.
So there are two sections we read just now. One is the Linga Vishakam. Swami is providing the inner significance that Dr. Reddy mentioned before of the Vishakam, which is the cooling down of Lord Shiva by pouring Ganga on the head. So that is the symbolic significance of this. The giver of Jnana is very important, I thought, because it tells us the way to liberation, because our real goal in life, as Swami said, is to realize our inner divinity. And our organization exists not only to do that, but help others realize our own divinity. And Swami is explaining to us that from now on, and in any time when we realize that inner self, that is when we get liberated. And Lord Shiva's example is very important here, because he is exemplifying the qualities and the procedures and the path that we must follow. By giving up attachment to the world and by renunciation, by Tyaga, he is showing the way so that we can follow him and realize our true nature, our true goal. And that is why Swami said is our real spiritual sadhana. Everything is in that direction. So that is the real significance. Sai Ram.
Sairam, I think we have seen all Abhishekams. So as Swami was talking about in all the temples, so even other places in his Shivatam, even a daily, not only on Maha Shivaratri or Shivaratri, daily, whenever you worship the Lingam, they do the Abhishekam. And Swami said the significance is just to cool down. So and then, so just so that it refers to our passions. That Swami another time said, we are always, whenever we are agitated with different emotions, anger, greed, jealousy, we get agitated. So this thing will cool down, particularly when you chant the Rudram. And there also Swami said, when you are doing Abhishekam, it is not only with water we do, as we have seen, we do with milk, we do with the yogurt, curd, we also do with ghee, we do with sugar, and you do with coconut water, haldi. So many substances are used. There is symbolic significance. That means for the Lord, you are offering various elements, the earth, the fire, the water, and air, and various other aspects of the creation. So that is why there is an offering. When it is God's creation, you offer it to Him. What came from Him, it goes back to Him. That is why we need to know the inner significance. Why do we do Abhishekam? That is why it is said in scriptures, Lord Shiva is easily pleased. Abhisheka Priya, just put some water, he is happy. Just Bola Shankar, he is easily pleased. Whereas Narayana, they say, these are all the same God, different aspect. He is got Alankara Priya, he likes nice decoration and put nice stuff and jewelry and all that. Whereas Lord Shiva, as we were talking about, example of simplicity and sacrifice. What does he have? He has got ashes all over the body. That is his outfit. And he has got his animal skin covering him. And he has got ornaments, the snakes. So he has and where does he live? Where is his house? In a burial ground. So that kind of simplicity is showing, if you're really a spiritual seeker, you should have that simplicity. And second thing is sacrifice. He drank the halahala, the terrible poison which nobody else wanted to have. He sacrificed for the sake of all, for the sake of whole universe. He drank. So he is always ready to sacrifice. And third thing is easily pleased. That is why all the demons, when they go to Lord Shiva, because he without, like somebody you worship, somebody you adore me, just I'll give you the thing. Love is unconditional. Oh my God, if I give this bad guy, what will he do? He won't think. He loves me, so I give unconditional love. Then everybody gets into trouble. That is different matter. Ravanasura, everybody gives and then they get into trouble. His unconditional love, his simplicity, his sacrifice. But most important, why people worship Lord Shiva is for jnana. There is beautifully said, Jnanat Maheshwara Ichet. Jnana is given by Lord Maheshwara. Just that is, he bestows liberation. Whereas like health, they say Arogya Bhaskara Ichet. Sun God, he gives you the good health. So similarly, the Lord Maheshwara gives jnana. What is jnana? Swami himself, Advaita Darshanam Jnanam. But first we should have clear concept. What is jnanam? Seeing oneness is jnanam. Because Swami says, dual mind is half blind. So you need to see that oneness. That is why he beautifully said in scriptures, Ishwaranugraha hetayo pumsa advaita vasana. If you have interest in Advaita, that means it is the grace of Lord Shiva. Lord, only by, otherwise most of the people are caught up in the duality. God is there, I am here, ritual. But once you go on progressing spiritually by His grace, Advaita Vasana, you will get that interest. Oh, what is this? What is the real? Do that. Because ultimately Lord Krishna says, Jnana devatu kaivalyam. Only by jnana you will reach the ultimate thing. That is why, because he gives that, and he gives you, because of his grace, you get that Advaita Vasana, and you try to get that jnana. Because even Lord Krishna says in Gita, Jnanam labdhva param shantim. If once you get that attainment of jnana, then only you will get supreme peace. And you, because then as long as you see two, always differences will be there. You see one, where is the question of difference? And also, jnanagdi dagda karmanam tamahuhu panditam buddhaha. So once you have jnana, all your karmas are burnt away. Dagda karmanam tamahu, all the karmas are burnt away. The minute you have that jnana agni, that's why it's called, once you develop the jnana agni, so then you will realize one and no more of the suffering or anything. So that is what important. That is the wonderful thing about Lord Shiva. For that, Swami has another important thing. How do you get jnana? It's not just like you get the Advaita. Two things are an obstacle. One is our ego, and second is all these negative qualities. Shadripus, they call 6 enemies. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Desire, anger, greed, jealousy, attachment, and delusion. So these are all the ones which take us away from God. But these 6 enemies, where is the solution? How are you going to eliminate them? Swami showed beautifully these 5 values, 5 fundamental human values: Sathya, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa, truth, right conduct, and peace, non-violence, and right peace. What is the truth? Right conduct, always get peace, non-violence, and love. Love, the most important. That is the underlying current. If you have, then you get rid of all these 6 reputes. Then, because that is the block which is not making, because as Swami says, it is like Swami says one time, fire, another thing is bottomless pit. Like you have see the fire, you put something, you think it instead of going down, it will go up and up, the fire. Similarly, our desires, the more you fulfill the desires, they will multiply rather than go. So that is why Swami said, ceiling on desires. And the greatest example in the scriptures is Yayati, who, even though he borrowed the thing, he never gets satisfied with his desires. Then he realizes this is bottomless pit. It is like Anala. So we need to remember that and then practice Soham. I am he, I am he. So then you reason. So we'll continue next week and probably we can finish. So please read that. So recollect, ruminate and contemplate, and that will give us more and more insights. Okay? Sai Ram, Jai Sai Ram.